welcome to Mind and Body Wellness, a show where we talk about the health of your mind, body, and spirit. My name's Clovis Colley, and I'm your host, and tonight I have as my guest Brian from Transcendental Meditation. Hi, Brian.
Hi there, Clovis.
Now, you've been doing this Transcendental Meditation stuff for a long time, right?
Yeah, over 45 years, yep.
Where'd you get your start?
I was going to school in the University of Denver, in Denver, Colorado, and some friends of mine said, hey, come to this TM lecture, and I went, and it sounded good, so I started then, right at the end of my college years.
What was the interest?
Well, I was interested in, they said, look, your brain and your mind have this huge potential, but we're only using 5 or 10% of it. And this technique, you just do it regularly, a real simple, easy mental technique twice a day, it expands that to 100%. And that sounded pretty interesting to me.
Well, yeah, it's my interest, and I always want to know, what we're capable of as humans. What are some of those things that you found that you could do after practicing some Transcendental Meditation?
Well, I feel really refreshed and alert and aware, and just then meditating regularly twice a day over the years, I've just noticed my mental capacity expand. I'm just more sharp, I'm more clear, I remember things, I'm really creative, I can come up with all kinds of good problem-solving things. So that's, what really made a difference for me. My total appreciation for everything I did and everything I saw just went really deep and really powerful.
Now you have this long-standing relationship with Transcendental Meditation, and you're part of. What is your function with the organization?
Well, my wife and I teach TM in the Omaha-Lincoln area, which also includes Council Bluffs and Sioux City. And we've been doing that now for over 5 years. And we basically help people learn TM. Whoever wants to learn TM, they come to us and we teach them. We're actually certified teachers. You have to be certified and really highly trained to teach TM. It's a very simple technique to do, but there's a lot of training that goes into the teaching of it and the learning how to teach it properly so that it really works well for everyone.
I see. I've known it's worked well for me, and I took the class from you, and I've gotten a lot. I feel that I've gotten a lot of benefit out of it.
Great.
And it's sure. I understand some of the things that you're saying. What are some of the things that I've seen people do the cities on television. That looks a little bit unbelievable, and I've never seen it in real life. When you got a yogi sitting on the ground and he starts kind of bouncing up in the air. What's all that business about?
I've done that technique for over 30 years too. And what it is this. The TM technique allows you to go deep, really deep, beyond the thinking process, beyond thought. That's what transcend means. That's the definition of it, go beyond. And so then you're contacting that field of unbounded consciousness inside yourself, and that's what gives you all these benefits. Now with the Cities program, you learn to sort of act from that very deep, powerful level. So there's a number of formulas. They're called the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, and you go through these, and it really develops very powerful techniques to develop full potential of the mind and body much more quickly. There's very specific things that you develop, more universal values and more heartfelt love and compassion and friendship for people. All these things develop, and that flying technique, the yogic flying technique as it's called, is just one of them. You just have this very simple intention with the sutra, and all of a sudden your energy just kind of pops you right up off the foam, but you come right back down, so that's why we do have foam on the ground.
I see. Is that where legends of people on flying carpets originate from?
There are many. Dr. Pearson over at the University in Fairfield, Iowa there, Marshall University, has written a whole book. There are hundreds of different accounts in history of different people lifting up and floating around and all this, in all the different traditions, in Europe and in China and Asia, Africa. This is actually not an uncommon thing. It's happened many times in history before.
That's pretty pretty unbelievable. I would like to see that in person.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to put any silly light on.
Well, anyone can learn the technique. You just come to Fairfield and you spend a few weeks there. It requires a little more time to learn than just the TM, which is a few minutes
I see.
with the teacher. But anyone, it's open to anyone to learn it.
Tell me about Fairfield. That's kind of your center, or the Center for Transcendental Meditation.
Yeah. It was formerly Parsons College many years ago, if you ever heard of that, and they went bankrupt, and there was a whole empty college sitting there, so the TM organization bought the college and started a university where students, teachers, and administrators all practice meditation. So everyone does it. And that changes the whole educational experience. The students are much more ready to learn, the teachers are much more excited about teaching, the whole place, the students really form these very deep bonds of friendship with each other, which last for years after they've left the college. It's a very wonderful university. And then a lot of people started coming there to be in that community, and there was a children's school also from age kindergarten to 12, where all those kids also meditate, and the teachers. And everybody started coming there, and they had to go, well, we're going to have to make a living here somehow. So they started a bunch of businesses, and now there's a whole community. About 3,000 people out of the 10,000 people in Fairfield are meditators and practice meditation and are interested in spiritual growth and everything. So,
what's it like to live in a town like that?
Well, wonderful. I mean, I have also the same thing. I have these very deep friendships with people that these people, all my friends are interested in really growing and really expanding their awareness and their life and really growing in a real positive direction. So that's what I'm surrounded with all the time.
That's pretty amazing. That's a little different than maybe living in the inner city of some metropolis.
Well, my wife and I are here a couple times, usually 2 weekends a month at least, if not 3. So we're living in Omaha too, and we have a nice little group of community really of meditators now forming, and we get together and have group meditations, and we have some very dear friends in Omaha now too. So it's a very wonderful place to come and
nice.
teach.
Now tell me about since we're on the topic, tell me about the Maharishi effect, and where does that word come from, and what does it mean? Okay,
well, we just had a little presentation on that at the center for some of our meditators. Maharishi is actually, it surprises you a little bit. He's a very educated man. He has a master's degree in physics and mathematics. And Dr. John Hagelin, who's the head of the Organization of the United States, he's also a quantum physicist. And they have really delved deeply into this unified field theories and the unified field. And for them, the unified field is not only the source of matter and energy for everything in the universe, but it's actually a field of consciousness. And it's a field of consciousness that we can settle down and contact during meditation. When we contact that deep, powerful field, the source of everything, it enlivens it, and it creates an effect that spreads out. We're all basically connected in the world. Some philosophers have always said this, but this is actual physical experience. We actually are connected with everything, everyone in our surroundings, in our world, and we can have a positive effect by doing these more advanced TM City techniques, they're called, in a group. And so there's a couple domes in Fairfield. We have hundreds of people in each dome doing this, and we're constantly trying to expand that group in Fairfield to be big enough to really, we feel, affect the whole United States.
That's cool. So I think when you briefly talked about it while you were teaching me TM, you said it would maybe, if you were in a certain town where you had a certain proportion of people meditating, it actually started to create this effect over other people, and that you could see a decrease in crime. And
yeah, there's a real simple little formula. It seems to be about 1% of the population of a city can affect the whole city, and they start having lower crime rates and lower admissions rates to hospital and lower rates of traffic accidents, this kinds of thing. But the more advanced TM City technique, I kind of explained that earlier. It's much more powerful technique to experience and to do. And if you get the people all together in one place instead of being spread out all over town, you can get an effect with the square root of 1% of the population. So for example, the United States is a little over 300 million. The square root of 1% comes out to about 1,800 people. And if you can get them together all the time, every day doing this, you can affect the whole United States. And the world population, the 7 billion people in the world, if you can get 10,000 people together, all together in one place, which they are trying to do in India right now, you can affect the whole world. And everyone in the world would be a little less tense every day and a little less stress and be able to get along much better together and create a real situation of world peace.
Where does transcendental meditation come from? I know people have been meditating as long as just about there's been people, but transcendental meditation's a little newer, isn't it?
Not really. It's a very ancient source. It's called the Vedic source, Vedic tradition. And what it is that this ancient Vedic tradition is really a science of consciousness in the mind. And it's the oldest continuous oral tradition in the world, according to the United Nations, okay, thousands of years old. And for thousands of years, these people in India have really researched deep down inside themselves. How does their consciousness work? How can we make it better? How can we realize the full potential of it? And so when they've done that, they've produced these techniques and all this, and these techniques are very old actually, but if they're not done properly and not understood properly, they don't really work very well. It's only when Maharishi and his teacher really kind of straightened everything out again that the techniques really started showing what they could really do for the potential of mankind.
See. Well, I know, like at my hypnosis clinic, we can do things like pain control, and you know, hypnosis is an altered state. You can retrain behavior, stop smoking cigarettes, the general things that people think about, plus a lot more. Why should people meditate? And you talked briefly about what we could get out of it, but why should people meditate, and what could they expect to get out of it on a daily basis, on a real fundamental level?
Okay, well, what meditation does, what transcendental meditation does specifically, is it goes really deep, again, beyond the thinking process. But that deep, deep rest, deeper than deep sleep, that you get in meditation releases stresses in the whole mind and body in a very holistic way, too. It doesn't leave something out and just do one little thing here. Everything improves because it's the source of who we are, and we're going down to the source, really, and having an effect on that level. So what we expect is more mental potential, more intelligence, more creativity, and IQ scores, for example, scientific research shows go up with TM, and that no matter what the age, whatever age the person is, the IQ start where they start will go up with practice of TM. The other thing is that the stress is basically one of the main causes of disease. And if we go down to that really deep level of stress, we're going to help health in all areas. People get reduced high blood pressure, and they get an effect that's similar to medicine. This has been proven in scientific research. There's all these different diseases go down. So much improved health and much improved mind and mental function, and just much less stress and a better ability to deal with stress. We get rid of stress, but we're more protected from it from then on because we're so much stronger. The human body just has this incredible intelligence that it can heal itself and get rid of stress, and we just have to set those conditions up with this real simple, easy technique, and all of that unfolds very naturally.
I see. How long does it take to learn to do TM?
Okay, it's basically a 4-day course, about an hour, hour and a half each day. The first day you actually learn the technique from a teacher one-on-one. That's a very important part of TM. We only teach one-on-one for people to really get the technique properly, doing it right, and get the benefits. Then the next 3 days, the person goes home and meditates by themselves at home for a little bit, and then they come back in and meet with us, and we talk about their experiences and answer questions, give them more information. So first day instruction and 3 days of follow-up, and each day just about an hour, hour and a half, and we have courses ongoing all the time here in Omaha, and there's many different times of the day, so we can try to fit that into someone's schedule. Then they practice the technique, and they come in for the rest of their lives. Anytime they want, they can come in and get the meditation checked out and really make sure it's working right.
Cool. What happens when you have two people that are married and they meditate together?
Well, we have a lot of, sometimes that happens. We get a lot of couples in, and they, first of all, they just notice, see, if your mind and body are clear and free of stress and you're feeling good, it's very easy, much easier to get along with everyone in your
certainly.
Just your spouse, but also your friends and your coworkers and everyone. And it just kind of makes sense. Like if you get a really good night's sleep sometimes and then the next day is just great, well, that's what TM's like all the time.
How's this work with alcoholism, drug addiction, maybe somebody that doesn't have a severe mental illness, but maybe slight depression, things like that? What do we see as an effect from meditation on those types of things?
Great effects on that. And there's some wonderful scientific research. For example, cigarette smoking, it shows that people who start TM stop smoking at a rate which is better than any program that you could sign up for. And the same goes the reduction, the alcohol consumption goes down, drug consumption goes down. And it's very interesting because we don't give lectures to people in TM and tell them they shouldn't be smoking or drinking or whatever. They just naturally start feeling so much better about themselves that they just stop because they feel happy as is. And why do I need to drink or smoke or do that? I mean, they just naturally start making better decisions about their own health. And that's one of the reasons some of the research shows improvements in health with TM. It's helping with stress in the body and all that, but also people actually start following, they know they should be doing this to be healthy, but they haven't been doing it before, and now they start doing it because they're able to do things more when their body's free of stress, their mind's free of stress. They're just able to make better decisions for themselves and take care of themselves better.
Well, yeah, I guess if it helps you love your fellow man, it should help you love your body better, so you're not destroying it with cigarettes and booze and drugs. How about people that, how about sports enhancement? People that are playing competitive sports, golf, pool, basketball.
There's a lot of athletes who do this because it does improve mind-body coordination because you're getting the brain waves and the brain working much better and all that, and that's coordinated with the body much better. So there's a lot of athletes that do it, professional athletes, but it's such a universal level of who we are and what we are. It's like everybody benefits. There's teachers, there's students in inner city schools, there's Wall Street financial people, there's all these different people. There's a lot of military people who've been doing it now because it really has been shown to help with PTSD. And so it's just everyone can benefit from this because everyone has some stress stored in there that's keeping them from really developing their full potential.
Well, I know you a little bit. I know that you're probably meditating twice a day without fail.
Yeah.
Do you have stress in your life, or because of your commitment to the process, do you think that you're pretty free of stress?
I don't feel a lot of stress, definitely. And what I feel is sometimes things come up in my life that are challenges. And I never see them as stress or something bad or something. I see something as a challenge that, oh, good, I can work with this and overcome it. And that's my attitude towards it, and that's the way I live my life. And TM is a very integral part of my being able to do that, I think.
I see. I've never seen you get mad.
Yeah, well, here's the other thing. If we get rid of all the stress in our body, it doesn't mean that we don't have emotions. We do have emotions, but they pass very quickly, and the idea is not to be creating stress for ourselves or our family or friends or anything like that. And so I still have emotions, but hopefully most of them are in a very positive direction, and it feels really good in connecting with all my friends and family.
Now, there's some famous names that are pretty big proponents of Transcendental Meditation,
Yeah, yeah.
record producer. Could we talk about those people for a moment?
Yeah, okay. Probably one of the best known ones is Jerry Seinfeld, who's been meditating for over 40 years. He really loves TM, and he speaks very highly about it. David Lynch is a very famous filmmaker who actually not only practices TM and really helps with his creativity and his process of making films, but thinks so highly of this. He started a foundation where I think over 500,000 people have learned TM, and these people were mostly kids in at-risk schools or in third world countries who are orphans, or women who are out on the streets, and young girls out on the streets not doing very nice things to themselves, and all these kinds of people, homeless people, and they've all learned TM due to his foundation, so it's a really wonderful thing.
Who's the record producer?
That's Russell Simmons.
Okay, he's
Okay, and
pretty big
he's
name in the record industry.
real big proponent of it, because he really thinks that creativity and focus really are very important from that. There's also a comedian named, this is the two Russells, there's a comedian named Russell Brand, who also does as an English comedian. Some people know him. He's been in some films and does a lot of stand-up. So yeah, and of course everybody knows Paul and Ringo from the Beatles, and they are really into it.
They were TM guys, huh?
Yeah, yeah. They had a big benefit concert about 6-7 years ago in New York City to help raise money for the David Lynch Foundation to teach more people TM.
Tell me what you want to tell me about TM. What haven't we covered?
Well, I think, I think just to bring it back to stress, stress is it's almost like an epidemic in our culture right now. People are under so much stress from all these different things, and people can't concentrate, they can't focus, they can't relate to their friends and family. It's a very, very difficult thing. It's very damaging to people's health. And TM has really been shown from scientific research to be the most effective thing you can do to not just manage stress, but actually eliminate stress from your mind and body, so that your mind and body can actually just work the way they were originally designed to work, which is at a very high level and a very blissful level, and living in great happiness and fulfillment in life, and not just always upset with all this, the stress and strain of life.
Well, I think that a lot of people always feel like something's missing, and they're always eternally moving towards this unknown thing that they're missing. Do people that meditate, does that go away for them? Do they feel satisfied with simpler things?
Yeah, because what they actually find is they discover something that was with them all the time and they didn't know it was there, and that's themselves. This really full, infinite, unbounded self that's in each and every one of us, that is able to bring happiness and fulfillment, not only to themselves, but to all their friends and family and everything. It's this huge thing. I mean, George Stephanopoulos is another person who meditates, and he said, after a couple of years even, I said, I can't believe it. It's me. There's this me here that I really didn't even know was here. It was so covered up by stress and being busy doing this. But I have this complete, full being that's me, that is all the happiness I would never, ever need in life.
Now, is that what they call, there was a term, self-actualized or something like that?
Self-actualized or self-realized, yes. And it's a very high level of psychological functioning. I believe it was Dr. Maslow many years ago developed this scale. And people who practice TM really just knock the top off that scale, because this is the best technique I know to really realize your real full potential of who you are.
What is one of the neatest things that you have seen as a result of meditating this way? For, like, say, somebody maybe had a lot of problems? Or what's the biggest change, the most phenomenal change you've ever seen anybody make by use of Transcendental Meditation?
You know, we talked a little bit about PTSD a little while ago, and you know, it's not only people in the military who have PTSD. We had a student come in down in Lincoln who had horrible childhood, just horrible, horrible stuff happened to her during childhood. And she was as bad or worse than anyone that we've ever had in terms of military. We've taught a lot of military people too. And she did the technique, and we had to work with her a lot. We had to really talk to her a lot and help her out a little bit along the way, and that's what you get with TM, is that a lot of individual attention if you need it. And just a few months later, she came in to one of our group meditations and was sitting there and laughing and smiling and talking to everyone, and she had 2 PhD degrees, and you know, she was just blossoming. It was unbelievable to see. We were just kind of sitting there going, whoa,
Over
look at
what
this.
period of time did this take?
I think it was definitely less than a year. And, it was definitely a process that she had to go and really kind of stick with it a little bit. But she did finally really break through. And I've sat there going through, when we do veterans, that's usually with a grant, so they fill out a little form.
We've got about 40 seconds left.
Okay.
Tell us how to get a hold of you.
Okay, good. So our Omaha office is out near 117th and West Center Road, but the easiest way to get hold of us is tm.org/Omaha, tm.org/Omaha. And there's a web page and everything's on there.
Thanks for being our guest. This is my guest, Brian Smith. Thanks for a great interview. Show is brought to you by Nebraska Counseling and Hypnosis Center. Tune in again. Thanks for watching.